Hi, I'm Elliot, a writer, and I am typing out The Great Gatsby. Why? Because that was something Hunter S Thompson did, because he wanted to see what it would be like to write a masterpiece. Now that I have some time on my hands, I figured it would be a good opportunity to give it a shot myself. So, please join me every Saturday until I finish the whole novel. Welcome back to another episode of Typing Out the Great Gatsby with me, Elliot. Hi. Another week. Another week. This one nearly got me. I wasn't sure if I was gonna make it to this episode. Thought I was gonna just pass out and give up. Just too much. But hey, look at me. Look at me here. I made it. It's like showing up to the gym on Christmas Day. You know, it's like, it's so stressful. We did so much. We got through so much. It was so hard. But here we are, committed at the gym on Christmas Day. I don't know what point I'm trying to make, but it feels like that right now. This one was a tough one. This week, they seem to be getting harder. You think you get used to these days feeling kind of crazy, but you don't. Because it's like waves upon waves. You survive one wave and it's like, oh, okay. And then another wave hits you and you're just getting more and more tired each time. It's like, oh no, another big wave. And it just hits you again. It kind of knocks you off your board. I'll add this now, I'm not a good surfer. Surfing is, I would say, the only sport where I felt certain that I was gonna die. And the funny thing is, I've never even gone out to the furthest, like to the part where you could even begin to surf, to like the waves start to rise and you could actually catch it. I was just trying to like swim out there and like salt water hits me over and over again. Never took lessons, just rented a surfboard and off I went. Feels like that right now. Feels like no one is here to teach me how to do things, and just each day is just another wave of emotions, daily task, and you just try to weather it and just roll with the punches, as they say in the boxing biz. Yeah, but here we are. We made it. Today was the first day I returned to the office, my business office, just for a short period of time, just to do a few things, shoot a few videos there in the studio. It was good to see a few members of the team. It was good to, I guess, just remember how life used to have been. And although it's so far from normal, it's good to know that I don't even know what it's good to know. It's good to know that everybody's going through it together, and you've been isolated for so long. It's been 14 weeks of doing this, and so it's been like 16 weeks of self-isolation, quarantining. And so it's good to know that there's other people there too. I mean, people dealing with it in their own unique ways, facing their own unique problems. None of them are typing out The Great Gatsby, so they don't really know what this whole thing is like on top of everything else. But like I mentioned last week, I believe, I'm trying to think of this less as a task that I have to do, which it's hard because it's a commitment for sure. But I try to think of it as like, hey, hang out. Let's get together and hang out and try not to lose our minds. And here we are, still with a mind, still able. And let's start. There's much more to discuss, I'm sure, but this is gonna take forever. So let's start. And so last week we left off Gatsby and Nick. They are together. They're gonna grab lunch, and Gatsby has this like kind of a secret assignment. He wants Nick to do something, and Nick is unsure what he has just gotten himself into. All right, that's where we are. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about our intentions today. What are we hoping to learn? What is there left to learn, right? You know what? Let's look at how Fitzgerald is describing characters, like physical descriptions, because I see it happening in front of me here, and let's see what he focuses on and why he chooses to focus on it. That seems like something worth discussing. I think it might be interesting. Let's go with that. Physical descriptions of characters. Maybe next week we'll do physical description of like settings, but we'll deal with that later. Descriptions. Oh. Okay, so right away, I mean, as if I planned this spur of the moment, we can see Fitzgerald describing Mr. Wolfsheim. A small, flat-nosed Jew raised his large head and regarded me with two growths of hair which luxuriated in each nostril. After a moment, I discovered his tiny eyes in the half-darkness. So he has a big nose. Cool. This is not a particularly impressive paragraph of describing a Jewish person. I don't really particularly want to dive too deep into this example because it's kind of maybe a little bit offensive. But you can see how he does it. He doesn't just go ahead and like, this is his features. He actually puts the features in action and regarded me with two fine growths of hair which luxuriated in each nostril. That's interesting, right? That's like a little bit more depth, and it's almost as if the hair, the nostril hair, is the thing greeting Nick as opposed to the actual person. So that might be something to try, using the actual features of the person to evoke the action, to make the action happen, as opposed to just describing the person and then setting them free and just having like Mr. Wolfsheim do the action. Have his nostril hair do the action. And let's keep going. There you go. Oh man. Like I mentioned this many times before, and misunderstandings is the best way to make believable dialogue, believable human interaction. Just think of like any interactions you have with anybody, and just how many misinterpretations, misunderstandings, just misaligning viewpoints. Just like a small thing like this where Mr. Wolfsheim, I'm never gonna get it. It's clearly not talking to Nick, and Nick responds. That's literally every multi-people interaction. That's a weird way to put it. That's every interaction I ever had with like a group of people, like a 3 or more people. Like, are you talking to me, or are you just talking to the whole group? Do you want me to respond? Are you talking to me specifically? Are you asking me a question? So, interesting thing to add in there when doing this. Just to give it more flavor, instead of just jumping right in to the actual important parts of the scene. I don't even know what this word is. So let's find out. Okay. Adjective. Somnambulatory. Somnambulatory of pertaining somnambulation, carrying out while sleepwalking, going through motions. Okay, that's all I need to know. Somnambulatory abstraction, just like whatever. It's actually a post. You know, like your word is so obscure that people are searching for it specifically from the novel. Somnambulatory. That's well, all right, sure. Ugh. All right. Typing is hard today. This is really interesting. I like how it's done. Where it's just, he's looking up at the ceiling and just describing what he sees there, like just so straightforward. The Presbyterian? I don't know words. Presbyterian. Oh, I spelled it wrong. Did I? Sorry, yes, I did. No, Presbyterian. Presbyterian? Oh, jeez. This is gonna be a clunky episode. I'm sorry. Sorry. My head's not in it. My fingers aren't in it. It's been a long week. It's been a day already. Let's just try to get through this without too many words being said with nonsense. It must be weird if you guys are watching this, if you're watching me type this, and you must be seeing me like making mistakes, and you're probably just like shouting, "Don't! You made a mistake! You made an error!" It's like when you're watching like a presentation at the office, and you can just see like a typo or a mistake in someone's PowerPoint. You just want to call it out, but you don't want to be rude. Here it's a little different. You can't actually like tell me, and I won't be able to fix it. If I've already moved past it, if I miss it and the spell checker doesn't catch it, it's gone. It's gone. It's just gonna be the way it is, and you gotta learn to accept things for what it is. Okay, so they're just comparing two different restaurants or bar, whatever. I feel like every city has a metropole. Don't you feel that way? I must have been to like 30 metropoles in my life. Let me know if you've been to a metropole. Send me a link to the address. I'm sure there's a history to it that I'm not aware of. So here's something interesting, at least I think is interesting, is so often when I write dialogue, I see these squiggly lines and I just feel the urge to correct them, but sometimes people don't speak with proper grammar. I know I sure don't. I speak with terrible grammar. I mess up tenses. That's my weakness. It's like a very muggy day. It's like not sunny outside, but it's like hot. There better be some purpose to this conversation here. See, he did it again. Fitzgerald did it again. He used the actual feature of the person to make the action instead of just Mr. Wolfshame was indignant to me. It's like his nose was indignant. Yeah. Sorry. Quotation marks. Too many quotation marks within quotation marks. Throwing me off. I don't know. I feel like he's overdoing it now. He's used that same trick. He's used it so many times, and I get it. He has a big nose. Fuck. Like use another part to describe him. Although that's one good way to actually get your readers to memorize, to remember which character is which, is to just focus on one attribute of the character. Harry Potter does a really good job just like finding one trait to focus on and then like slowly expanding it over time. We know that Ron has red hair, Hermione has curly hair, Harry wears glasses, Snape is like an eagle dude. Hagrid's like big, Dumbledore's got a beard. It's like all the characters have like one memorable trait. And so you don't want to really bog down your readers too much with different things. You want to just have a really clear image and then just focus on those differentiating elements. But here, he's using the nose too much. For me, personally. This word. Connection. A lot of words I don't know. This connection is a term in the novel The Great Gatsby. Well, that's not helpful. Okay, let's use Urban Dictionary. We haven't used Urban Dictionary before to figure out what a word means. The word is a misspelling of the word connection. So yeah, that's fun. Looking for a business connection. How is a reader supposed to know that? I guess you just have to like read it out loud in your head almost to actually get that understanding that it's like a misspelled word on purpose. It's Mr. Wolfsheim making things hard for me today. He better serve a purpose. It's funny because I read this book 10 years ago. I seen the movie, the new one, the Leonardo DiCaprio one, at some point between, I wouldn't even say like 6 years ago. So I don't have a clear memory of the story. I'm sure when Hunter S Thompson was doing this, he actually remembered what was happening in the story and can actually what point was I trying to make? That he can sort of anticipate what's coming. I can't. This is all a surprise for me. I'm like reading it for the first time. It feels like that. It feels like I'm doing this for the first time and I'm like figuring stuff out as I go. I don't know if that's the best way to do it, but I'm here now. I'm not gonna read ahead. I'm trying to avoid spoilers to do this project. So don't you go and spoil The Great Gatsby for me. I think one interesting thing about a first-person narrative is you could get to when you know that it's Nick describing Mr. Wolfsheim and Wolfsheim. You know that Nick is describing Mr. Wolfsheim, And to focus on the way he's eating is like, it gives you an impression of how Nick actually feels about this character. Focusing on the nose, focusing on all that stuff. It's like, yes, it's Fitzgerald writing it, but he's giving that focus to Nick. And by us seeing through Nick's lens, we get to the like, okay, Nick doesn't care for this guy, or Nick like doesn't like him, thinks he's kind of gross. So I think that's one thing interesting about first person narrative, is that it's important to add that bias to your character, especially when it's that character telling the story. It's important to have that. A character shouldn't be impartial to everything. They should have judgment, because people, regardless of how saintly you are, you're going to cast judgment. Just like looking at this thing right here. I have feelings towards it that someone else will feel differently about. We can't all agree that is this yellow? Is this a yellow drink, or is this an orange drink? I don't know. It's yellow. It's a yellow drink. And anybody who disagree, you just have to come fight me. Just come fight me. Not here to talk. Actually, I am here to talk. Sort of ramble while I write. I'm gonna start calling people Old Sport. I think that's what I'm gonna do after I finish this. Old Sport. Look here, Old Sport. Alright, finally. That was a lot of Mr. Wolfsheim. Oh, Gatsby, you and your smile. Your devious smile. I'll launch 1,000 ships, that smile. Is that what it is? The face? No, not the smile. Yeah. It's not a reference show. My neighbor is hammering something, I believe upstairs or beside me. Can't really tell which direction it's coming from, but I could definitely hear it. It's like when you're inside of a drum, it doesn't matter which direction the banging's coming from, you're just kind of vibrating inside of it. Where am I? Okay. That would be annoying. God damn, just left again. Thought we were gonna figure some stuff out here. I could feel, I mean, I'm typing this. And so I feel the same frustration as Nick. I feel like I'm in this with Nick now. Okay, this is a good time to take a little break and do the Fitzgerald fun fact. And boy, do I have a fun one for you today. This is so much fun. Get ready for this fun that we're about to have. All right, so each week I find an interesting trivia fact about rather the Great Gatsby or F. Scott Fitzgerald. Usually they're both connected somehow. It's usually, if you're talking about one, you're talking about the other. And so here's the fun fact for today. One day I'll present this in a better way. Jeez, it's so bad already. Okay, here's the fun fact. Okay, so before Fitzgerald started on writing The Great Gatsby, he was working on a play called The Vegetable, or From President to Postman, which was a satire about the American dream. It was poorly received. The Vegetable, that is. It had a terrible opening night in 1923 in Atlantic City. So there you go. Even if you write a terrible story, no, not a terrible story, a terrible play that everybody thought was bad, you can still write The Great Gatsby that no one would appreciate until after your death and during a world war. That's sort of what we're learning. It's a very tragic life Fitzgerald had, actually. In terms of professionally, you know? When you look back and you see like Midnight in Paris or whatever, and you see just representations of Fitzgerald, you think he's like this highly regarded writer. But he was, most of the time, he was just struggling. I mean, he was wealthier than a lot of other writers, and that's probably why got some like white privilege advantages during those times. But overall, in terms of the accolades he got as a writer, sorry, there's a emergency happening outside. But in terms of being like a well-regarded writer during his time, he wasn't really. So just feel emotions for Fitzgerald for a moment, right? It's a struggle, but he had opportunities. I think that's the important thing we need to note. Have opportunities, try things, write a play called The Vegetable, From President to Postman. Anything can happen. So that was the fun fact of the day. Wasn't that fun? Oh, Mr. Wolfsheim. Jeez. Oh, God. This is... Maybe Mr. Wolfsheim would spill some dirt. Is that why you drop some dirt? Have some dirt on Gatsby? Sorry, I'm much more tired than I thought I was to be doing this. College. Really seeing me at my weak points. I'm like an injured athlete trying to contribute to a team right now, and just it's not looking good. He went to Oxford College. Oh, I see what he's doing. Oxford. That's fun. That's. I get it now. When you get it, you feel clever. When you're trying to read, what was the word? Corrections, and it doesn't make sense. Business connection. Oh, good connections. Yeah. When you get it, you feel good. When you don't get it, oof, you're suddenly on Urban Dictionary for some reason. Okay, I'm gonna try to pick up the pace a little. I like to think of myself as someone people would want to bring home and introduce to their mothers and sisters too. I don't, it always confused me what that means. Like, I guess they're polite, they're impressive, but it's just such a weird thing to say. You can see, you can feel Nick is getting a little salty. He's not enjoying Mr. Wolfsheim. This is interesting. I'm trying to figure out the purpose of the scene because it kind of just it drags on. But I think the purpose of it is it's creating this like tension. We're kind of getting a little bit of information about Gatsby, but we're also kind of waiting for him, like he's building that anticipation, the hype for what is actually going to happen, like what is actually going on. I think that's what it's for. It's like it hooks you, and then it kind of drags on for a few pages here and there. Just like let it linger, let you keep turning the pages because it has enough confidence in itself that you'll keep reading. Typing, on the other hand, I don't know, because this has been a overall pretty challenging chapter to type. There's a lot of stuff going on. Last episode was nice. Go back and watch last episode. I was on the ball with that one. This one not so much. Okay. All right. Usually I do this during like a chunk of like narrative or exposition, not exposition, but like a paragraph that isn't dialogue. What I'm trying to say is, I'm gonna do the how many words can I type in 1 minute challenge, which I have been doing for many episodes now. So I'm fading. I'm fading real good. So this is not gonna go well. But here, let's give it a try. So what's gonna happen is I'm gonna type for 1 minute. I'm gonna try to hit 75 words a minute. I don't think I can do that, but who knows? This section is also dialogue, which tends to be a little bit more tricky to type fast because sometimes they speak weird and there's a lot more punctuation to deal with, and they don't really count as words, but they are like a type on a screen, so that takes time. So let's see how well I do, all right? Oh no. Oh my god. The hammering is not helping either. It's so bad. Yeah, this is thank you, autocorrect. That was terrible. That was the worst I've ever done. I don't even want to look at this. This is probably like 20 words. 42. That's actually not so bad. It felt much worse when I was in high school. I entered a typing contest because I'm very cool. And I think the best I did was like 39 words a minute, which is like, now when I think about it, was pretty terrible because just right now, me like screwing up. Kind of did better. That's what I'm trying to say. I like that. Oh, hello. Hi. Hey. Finally. So many episodes, and you're finally here. You want to sit up? Go up. This is my dog, Michael. All right, I'm just gonna try to finish this here. I told him we're gonna go for a walk after I'm done this, and so he's waiting. Shook. Oh, God. Wait a second. Now it's E. Why is this one wrong? Is this one not wrong? Google Drive, figure it out. Because that is confusing. There's nothing worse than inconsistent copy editing or spell checking. Yes, that's right. All right. Sorry to leave you on a cliffhanger like that. but I'm gonna, because it's time to stop. It's time to stop. That's another episode of Typing the Great Gatsby. Thank you again for joining me on this lovely day. It's a beautiful day. I have no idea when you're watching this, if it's even beautiful at all, if it even is a day. But thank you for joining me. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for checking in. I'm good. Doing well. And yeah, here's to another week of crashing waves and smashing faces. I don't know. All right, I'm gonna leave you with that witty thought. Okay, bye.